Hello guys, Dr. Nasser Mahmood here, and today we're looking at a histological section of a lung. Now the lung represents the lower respiratory tract where gas exchange takes place. Structurally, the lung is composed of mainly two types of spaces, air spaces and vascular spaces. Air spaces is where air travels and gas exchange takes place, whereas vascular spaces is where blood flows through the pulmonary vessels. Understanding the lung histologically is largely about identifying different types of the airway and alveoli. Within the lung, you'll see numerous blood vessels, including pulmonary arteries and veins. The pulmonary arteries carry blood from the heart to the lungs and branch into progressively smaller vessels and capillaries. Because the pulmonary circulation operates at low pressure, the walls of these arteries are generally thinner than systematic arteries. The smallest blood vessels are capillaries, which run through the walls of the alveoli and are essential for gas exchange. The larger airways in the lungs are called bronchi. The bronchioles can be identified by the presence of cartilage in the walls. Bronchi are typically lined with pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium, similar to the epithelium found in the trachea. Other structures within the bronchial wall may include connective tissue, glands, and smooth muscle. As the airways branch further in the lung, they become bronchioles. The key difference between bronchus and bronchiole is the absence of cartilage. Bronchioles are lined by simple columnar or tubular epithelium and are surrounded mainly by smooth muscle. Further down the airway tree are the respiratory bronchioles. They represent a transition zone where the epithelium becomes cuboidal and the small alveoli begin to appear along the airway walls. Respiratory bronchioles mark the beginning of the respiratory portion of the lung, where gas exchange can start to occur. The smallest air spaces in the lungs are the alveoli. These tiny sacs make up the majority of the lung tissue. Alveoli are grouped around passages called alveoli ducts, which serve as common openings for multiple alveoli. The walls of the alveoli are extremely thin to allow efficient gas exchange between air and blood. Now, the alveolar walls contain several important cell types. They contain type 1 pneumocytes. These are thin flattened cells that form most of the alveoli wall and allow gases to diffuse between air and blood. You got the type 2 pneumocytes. These cells appear more rounded or foamy and produce surfactant, a substance that reduces surface tension and helps prevent alveolar collapse, and also alveolar macrophages. Occasionally, macrophages may be present within the alveolar spaces. These cells help remove debris and pathogens from the lungs. Now, within the bronchioles, you may also see Pleura cells, now more commonly called club cells. These cells contribute to surfactant production and airway protection. At the outer edge of the lung is the visceral pleura. This thin covering consists of connective tissue lined by a single layer of mesothelial cells. The pleura helps reduce friction as the lungs expand and contract during breathing. So in summary, to identify lung tissue histologically, look for these key features. Numerous alveoli forming thin-walled air spaces, pulmonary blood vessels within alveolar walls, bronchi identified by cartilage in their walls, bronchioles which lack this cartilage, alveolar ducts and alveoli forming the respiratory units, type 1 and type 2 pneumocytes lining the alveoli, and a visceral pleura covering the lung surface. Now, that's the classic histological structure of the lung, an organ specialized for efficient gas exchange between air and blood. Now let's move on to the next slide.